All right, y'all, we all have habits that we're trying to develop. What is one habit that you are not only trying this year to develop, but year after year after year after year after year, you've been trying to get that habit under control? I want to talk to you a little bit about mastering the art of building habits. And the reason why habits are so important is because while motivation is important and discipline is important, habits form the tracks of your life to move your life forward without you having to think about it. We all are familiar with the onset of AI and the importance of automating tasks for efficiency. There are things that we spend our time doing you no longer have to have a person do. A person will do it, they'll take longer, and AI saves you time. Automation makes things easier, and habits are the same. Habits make your life easier because while there are lots of things in life you can do and do well, thinking about them, thinking about each of them every day, all day long, from the most important of the tasks to the least important of the tasks, takes an extraordinary amount of energy. And when you make something that sets you up for success a habit that you don't have to think about it, it's like AI. It just does the job for you without you having to put in as much energy. Habits and building habits are worth your time and investment because it will then create space and leave room for the things that are most important in your life that actually do need a high level of energy. But habits are sometimes difficult to form. If you can think about that one habit that you have tried over and over and over again, I'd love for you to have that in your mind as we talk about what it looks like to build a habit and as you get insights into how you can maybe do a better job of creating that track so that your life is easier. The first thing I want to talk about with habits is that there is a science behind them. The book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, talks a lot about this. And if you want to get super brainiac about it, you can read the book because there is a habit loop that starts with a cue, it starts with a routine, and it is reinforced by a reward. We see this when we're training children. We see this when we're training dogs. We see this when we are Pavlov's dogs as an example of that. If you took that psychology class in college and had to learn about that. Habit is not just something you decide to do, but it becomes a rhythm in your life, something you don't think about and something that you become wired for. But it is built scientifically by you starting it, you getting into a routine with it, and then you emphasizing the reward that this was good. Many of us are stuck to our phones because we have the habit in the morning of checking our phones. We have the habit of sitting down to the dinner table and pulling out our phones. We have the habit of watching a movie and during the movie, Googling things about the movie on our phone, and then finishing the movie and seeing what other people had to say about it. And before we even watched the movie, we got on our phone to see if it's a movie we should watch. We are so in a habit of using technology that technology bleeds through so many things that we do as a habit. But you want to know why? Because there's a reward. You get a dopamine hit every time you form a habit around something that gives you a reward when you're finished. And social media, Google, anything on your phone gives you a chemical hit. So there is a chemistry to forming a habit. And if you don't understand the way you are designed and the way your body works, you'll miss how the science of habit forming can help you. Thinking about that one habit that you continue to try to form over and over again and asking yourself, what cues me into action? What is the routine that I always have? And what do I get out of it? Will show you why you have that habit, good or bad, and how you can form a good habit or replace a bad habit by finding a new cue or routine or reward. So for example, if I want to form a habit of working out, my cue can be that my tennis shoes are by the door. My cue can be that I've laid out my clothes, my tights, my t-shirt, my sports bra, so that I don't have to fumble around for it in the morning. That's my cue. My routine is I get dressed, I grab an apple on my way to the gym. I eat the apple because it gives me quick energy and high fiber. I work out. I do 30 minutes. I have the same playlist that I'm going to listen to. That's a part of my routine. After that, I'm going to get on the recumbent bicycle and read for 30 minutes while I work out because that gives me the value that I seek in working out, that I'm able to do something that grows me at the same time. I shower in the gym. That's a part of my routine because I bring everything with me and I start the day feeling fresh and come back home ready to go. My reward is I feel fresh. My endorphins are shooting off. My head is clear. I have a higher level of energy and I feel good about myself. That is the cue, routine, reward. That is the loop, the habit loop that we form. But a part of being successful and the science behind the habits is we have to consider the environment. An environment is the place in which you're building habits. Because if you're in the wrong environment, an environment are people and places. You're with the wrong people or with the right people, in the right place, in the wrong place, then you may or may not do it. Some of us cannot work out at home. We say we're going to do it and we never do. So somehow going to the gym puts us in the environment where we're motivated to do the thing that we need to do. Sometimes environment is accountability with community, that if I'm going to show up to go for a walk outside, if they aren't waiting for me, I'm not going. So I want you to consider your setup, both in your habit loop and in your environment with people and places, because that forms the supportive mechanism that you need. Forming habits require that you understand you are changing something, okay? You are changing something. It's not that you don't have good habits. It's usually that you already have bad habits formed. And if you can't recognize the bad habit that's already in place, then you're missing out on an amazing clue with how you can form a good habit. Habits are so difficult to form because you're actually not just putting something new in, you're taking something old out. I have right now on my desk in my bedroom stacks of paper on my chest, stacks of things I need to go through. And I kind of sort of know what's in each stack. If I want to form a new habit of having a clean and decluttered bedroom all the time, do you know what's required for me to do? I've got to clean up all the things that are on the surface of my chest right now. And that is a huge amount of energy and a great amount of time and a commitment that I'm going to have to make in order to start my new habit. One of the biggest deterrents to you forming a new habit is that you have to root out something old that's embedded. I don't have one or two pieces of paper on my chest. I have stacks of paper on my chest. And you may have stacks of days, weeks, months, or years of a habit that you've already formed, which means in order to start something new, you have to root out something that's old. And because it's old and because it already exists, it's probably already automatic. So seeing how it's not just starting something new, but you have to look at what's already there. For example, if you already have a habit of turning on the snooze button every morning when you wake up because you don't want to wake up, you're not just starting a new exercise routine, you're stopping a routine of sleeping in. So give yourself some credit and give yourself some grace for the things you have to stop doing in order to start doing the things that you want to do. I also want to talk about this pitfall before we get into some practical tips, because if we start the practical tips and you're not aware of the science behind habit forming, or you're not aware of the pitfalls that surround your habit forming, then you're going to start a new habit and do the same thing that you've been doing all this time, which is to start it and not continue it. Being a perfectionist is not going to be helpful. You cannot have an all or nothing mentality. If you start a new routine, a new habit, if you're trying to start with a new cue and a new routine and a new reward, you're going to fall off. That's going to happen sometimes because you simply say, once I miss, I'm done. Well, I got behind. The Inner Circle girls and I are currently doing a 90-day challenge together. I got behind. So, oh, well, I had a bad weekend. So, oh, well. I didn't do it I missed my walk this day. So, oh, well. And we actually become our own worst enemy and we self-sabotage because we tell ourselves, well, I missed it. So I missed it again. And you are attaching yourself to the person that you're trying not to be. I'm still them. That perfectionist attitude will eat you alive every time. Here's what you need to think instead. When you fall off of the chain, and you will, you just pick up and you keep going. Successful people who build habits don't fall off the wagon and quit. They acknowledge that they fell off the wagon and then they keep going. Building a habit does not mean perfection. It means simply that you keep going. I have tried numerous times to start the 1-year Bible and to make my way through a chronological reading of the Bible. I still have not finished the chronological reading of the Bible, but I'll tell you what, and it kills me, but I'll tell you what I've kept doing. I've just started where I left off. So it may be January the 20th, and I may, based on January the 20th, I may be supposedly in Genesis, but if It's January the 20th, and the last thing I read was my reading from August the 23rd, that I am turning on January 20th to August the 24th to pick up where I left off. Because what is the goal? The goal is to finish reading the Bible chronologically. I do myself no favors by saying, man, let me start over. Just pick up from where you are and keep going. This is the principle of every day being day one. You do not need to self-sabotage your efforts for habit forming because you made a mistake. You just keep going. Okay, so here's the deal. We've talked about the importance of habit forming and the science behind it. We've talked about the habit loop. We've talked about the power of environment. We've talked about pitfalls to habit forming and how you really are having to overcome a resistance to change and how you have to refuse the all or nothing mentality. So let's talk about some practical tips for habit building once you've got those things as the background in your head. Start small. Let me say that again. Start small. Let me say that one more time. Start small. The biggest mistake people make when they want to form a new habit or when they want to develop a new skill or when they want to get to a new goal is they do all of these things that are big changes and they do them all at once. So I'm going to start drinking water. I'm also going to become a vegan. I'm also going to make sure that I get up at 4:30 a.m. and walk. I'm going to start all of these things, and the amount of motivation and amount of energy, it's not impossible, but the amount of energy and motivation that you need to have to do all of that at once is not sustainable. You can start it, but you can't sustain it. And so consistency is key, and the best way to be consistent is for something small to be a win that you can do even when days are hard. Consistent effort, even in small doses, will help you to form a new habit. So an example of this would be if you're like, I want to pray. I want to pray more. I want to pray bigger. I want to believe God for big things, but I'm not even in the habit of forming a prayer life. Okay, great. 5 minutes. Set yourself up for success. Get to work. And when you sit down at work, if you get there a little early, give yourself 5 minutes to pray. When you get in the car, sit there for 5 minutes. Start by praying in the car on your way to work. At the end of the day, before you leave, close up and go home, stop and pray. Give yourself 5 minutes and then say, every day, I'm going to do this. And here's when I'm going to do it. And when I fail, because you will, here's my backup plan. Start small and have a backup plan. So if you want to be a woman of faith, a woman who God can use, start praying for 5 minutes every day. It is the practice of gratitude, the practice of prayer, and doing it small that results in a mindset shift that will last. When my middle son, my fourth child, was born, he was a shoulder dystocia baby. And because of that, he had nerve damage to his right arm. And a part of that was waiting. We had to wait for 3 months to see what kind of use he would have of his arm. And the doctor said we had to wait for 3 months. And there was no way to rush that, because nerve endings take time to reform or to heal. There was no way to rush that process. And she said, what we see at 3 months will be the greatest indicator of the use that he will have in his arm. And we had to just wait, because the body grows slowly. The body heals slowly. The body does heal and it does grow, but it doesn't happen overnight. If you are away from a child who maybe a niece or a nephew or your godchildren, you haven't seen them in a while, and then you see them, your reaction is like, oh my goodness, look how much you've grown. You see the difference because time has elapsed. We have to give ourselves grace with habit forming for time to elapse. The way your brain works, right? It's chemical, it's neurological, and those things take time to form. You are literally carving out new pathways in your brain. And new habits are usually formed first by replacing old habits. So you've got to carve out a new road, and that takes time. You have probably been in a city at some point in time where a freeway was under construction. And it was not under construction for 3 months. It was under construction for years. And the whole time that you were watching that new construction form, they were changing your path in your freeway. Sometimes you could drive like normal, or sometimes they would take your 4-lane freeway down to a 2-lane freeway. And then you would have more traffic and it would be more difficult because they were building something, and building something took time. And there was no way to fast forward that if you want it to stand. Consistency is key. And being consistent by making small changes is super important. So here's one of the best ways I've found to build a habit by building consistency in small ways. Use a habit tracker. Now, I have a habit tracker that is a part of my planner, and there is a habit tracker that is built into that planner. But Jerry Seinfeld took a calendar, just a wall calendar that you can get at any old grocery store or bookstore or whatever, and he pinned it to the wall and he drew an X on the calendar every day because he was trying to build the habit of creating a new joke every day. And so he would just put an X on the day. And his goal was, don't break the chain. Now, if he broke the chain and there was a day where there was no X, the next day he just kept going. So in whatever form you have in your calendar, in your planner, in the full circle planner, or anything else, or simply a wall calendar with blank lines. And in this day and age, just Google, download free PDF habit tracker. Go to Canva, make your own. There's a million ways to have a habit tracker, but to track it and just see. Because even that one little thing says, I did it, I did it, I did it, I did it. And let me tell you what you're getting addicted to when you have small wins. You're getting addicted to success. Hey y'all, guess what I have in my hands? It is the 2026 planner. And this is one color, but then there is 2 and 3 options. Last year we sold out, and the 2026 planner will be available for shipping soon. Labor Day weekend, you can order yours though. You simply go to thesistercircle.com/planner to grab yours. And y'all, the pre-orders are going to be fire with the extras that we have too. So don't miss out this year. Pre-order yours early, because the last part of this year is the right time to be getting ready for the first part of next year. And I'll be using my full circle planner. I hope you will too. Forming a habit, a part of the feedback loop, a part of the reward, even if going to the gym helps you to lose weight, or reading a book helps you to get smarter, or eating a salad helps you to get healthier. Those are rewards. But one reward that is always embedded in small habits is, I did it, success. Okay? And so the goal is to be small, to track it, and then to use that, or even an app, there are habit tracking apps, to give yourself the sensation of success. You want your habits to be easy to start. You want them to be small, and especially if it's a habit, if it's something you can do under 2 minutes, just do it. Don't think about it. Don't plan it. Don't work too hard on it. Just do it. So in forming a new habit, if I want to say I'm going to be grateful, and one of the things that will help me is that I set a reminder on my phone to pray a prayer of gratitude every day. Setting that reminder takes less than 2 minutes. So you're going to ask yourself, what is the small thing I want to do? And then I'm going to ask myself, what is a supportive mechanism that will help me to do it? And if that supportive mechanism takes you 2 minutes, set it up. Set it up. Consistency is key. Small habits make things better. I talked to you earlier about the importance of your environment and how important it is that people are a part of that. There is something to be said for the role of external accountability. Now, I know that accountability and people and social and community can be hard. I know that sometimes it means making time for it. I know that sometimes it means being vulnerable. In order to fix a really bad habit, you got to tell people what you're working on so they can hold you accountable to it. But here's what I can tell you. We are creatures that were designed for community, not just because we want to share our lives with other people who love God, but also because that's how it works. There is a quote by John Maxwell that you are this compilation of the 5 people that are the closest to you. If you want to change what you're able to accomplish in your life, change the people who are in your life. Having a workout buddy makes it easier to work out. Having a walking partner makes it easier to go on a walk. Having a friend who comes over when you meal prep together, 1 or 2 Sundays a month, that's going to make it easier for you to save money on your grocery bill. Having somebody who you get to connect with because you're studying for the CPA exam, like she's studying for the CPA exam, and so you are more committed to your study time. I took the CPA exam years ago, passed it, and me and a friend of mine, I would go to her house. She was 10 years my senior. I would go to her house. I would study a little bit on my own, and then we would study some together and help each other with the problems that we couldn't solve. We both passed the test the first time, and I'm convinced that community made that possible. So you want to look at the role that accountability is playing and say, who is doing this with me? Who is aware that I'm doing this? Who says, atta girl, when I actually accomplish a small win? Tracking your progress and being able to state to someone else or your accountability in your life is important too. That's why Weight Watchers works. You have the community and we also have the tracking. Being able to report to someone else, this is how far I've gone. This is what I'm struggling with. When I wrote She's Still There, which was my first solo book, I literally hired a writing coach. Now, it's not that she didn't give me any writing feedback. She did. But I told her, I don't need your help with writing as much as I need accountability for turning in 2,500 words every week. And if she did not get 2,500 words from me, she emailed me, she called me, she texted me and said, Chrystal, where are my words? I would feel Friday looming or Saturday looming if I did not work on my words that week, because I knew accountability. She was going to ask me for my words. Who's going to ask you about the thing that you're working on, about the habit that you're trying to form? Because having a person who's in your corner, who is aware of your progress, will move mountains for you. Another thing that will help you stay accountable and stay motivated, yes to accountability from other people, yes to tracking, but also to celebrating your progress. If you have a big goal and you're trying to form small habits to get to the big goal, along the way, yes, get the dopamine hit from I did it, but also set up milestones along the way. Let me give you an example of this. So I'm an author, and when I sign a book deal with a publisher, they give me immediate motivation by giving me an advance. They give me, I would love for them to give me all the money up front. I would love that. But then they say, now when you turn the book in, we'll give you another piece of that advance, not the full thing. And then when the book releases, we give you another piece of that advance. So they are saying, we're going to hold a carrot out for you to keep you going so that when you think, do I want to finish it? Do I not want to finish it? There is money out here waiting on you. But we need you to get the book done. There is a way for you to do that for yourself. So it's milestones. If you are a project planner, you understand how this works. You have a goal to plan an event or to install a new system or software. And along the way, you have all these little things that need to be done. But then you have these big rocks. It's like when we get here, we're going to celebrate. We're going to have a meeting. We're going to move the needle. So an example of this is milestones. I want to lose 200 pounds. That's great. So every day, my little habits are drink water, eat vegetables, increase my fiber, go on a walk, and all of those habits, you're not doing all at the same time. You're building them slowly, right? But the goal is 200 pounds. I think a milestone should be 25 pounds. Your first 25 pounds, it's a milestone. What are you going to do to mark the moment? 50 pounds, milestone. 100 pounds, milestone. Now you are doing the little things all the time, but sometimes you just need a big pause. This is what happens when you see on social media, people say, thank you for 100,000 followers, because it's a milestone. Now, every day I am posting, I am in my reels, I am sharing stories, I am sending emails. I'm doing all these things all the time, and I'm committed to those things. I send a newsletter every week, but the milestone was, man, do I have this many people on my email list? We crossed 25,000. That's great. Oh my goodness, we crossed 50,000. Did I celebrate when we crossed 100,000 on my celebration channels? Yes, I did. Did I celebrate marking 500 episodes of the podcast? Absolutely. Because those are bigger hits of I'm on the right track. Start small, be consistent, track your progress, have accountability, have community around it, set milestones to make sure you're celebrating those bigger things along the way. Have the right people in your life. Recognize that you will need to be flexible and adaptable because you will get interrupted. You are going to get sick and not be able to finish. You are going to lose momentum and may skip a day or two. But how you think about it is what moves you forward. If when you skip or when you miss, you think I'm a failure, this is going to happen like it's always happened, you are already self-defeating. You are already self-sabotaging. So you have to start planning to fail. You have to start planning to fail. When I fail, when I don't wake up on time to go to the gym, what is my plan? Am I just going to start the next day, or am I going to go that evening? Like, what is my plan? Am I going to give myself a week to recover and then start the next week? What is my plan? But being adaptable and saying illness is going to happen, travel is going to happen, stress is going to happen. When life happens to me, what do I do to regain momentum? So you've got to already have a scripted place, Chrystal. When you miss your workout or your cardio, and you will, you just have to keep going. Hey there, I stepped out of the studio for just a second to make sure you don't miss out. Now, I've been talking about the Sister Circle live event that's happening October the 17th and 18th. I've been talking about it for a minute. And if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, I don't know what you're waiting on, but you shouldn't keep waiting because the prices go up September the 2nd, the day after Labor Day. So go to thesistercircle.com/live today to get your ticket. Hope to see you there. thesistercircle.com/live. One of the best things I ever did for myself was create a script, something I can read to myself. And that's why I say all the time, give yourself grace. That was something I said to myself when I would see that I was not necessarily staying on track the way I wanted to be. Now, the way for you to create lasting change is for you to build your habits gradually over time, starting with one and then another and then another. If your big goal is to be a prayer warrior, start with 5 minutes, then grow to 15, then let's get into 30 before you try to jump off the high end and have a day of fasting and prayer on the floor, prostrate one day on January the 2nd. Like, that's not necessary. I'm not saying God can't use it. I'm saying that may not be necessary, and it may actually set you up for failure because you can't maintain that. Think about the bigger picture. Where are your habits taking you? And then break them down into smaller pieces. The biggest way that I can share this in a way that I haven't yet described is decorating my home. I would like to develop a habit of caring for my home, not just in keeping it clean, but in also making it a place my people don't want to leave. Interior design, decorating, buying furniture, it's all very stressful for me. And so one of the things that I've committed to, there's a feedback loop. The cue is I need to buy something. The routine is that I go buy something and then I experience remorse instead of reward. So I've learned to say, I don't want to have the habit of buying things in my home because I get it wrong and then I have buyer's remorse and I don't like that. But what I've recognized is even in that, the reward is that I do want to have a home that we don't want to leave. Okay, so that's the reward. So I have to do things that I know I love. How do I figure out the things that I love? Well, a part of my routine has to be going to the stores to sit in the chairs or to examine the rugs or I have to create a different level of experience and engagement because my current routine was you need something, just go buy it. So my new routine is go look. Have a routine of looking. You know that you need a piece of furniture in your home, go to furniture stores, look, try it out without needing to buy. So the cue may be that it's a weekend of sales, right? And so I know that they're going to be putting their best foot forward. And so I want to go out and have plenty of salesmen to talk to. Maybe that's my cue to remember that there are pieces that I need to buy or things that I want to do in my home. And my routine is without needing to buy it today, I am asking questions, sitting in it, gathering information. My reward is when I finally purchase something that I know that I like. I can't tell you how many rocking chairs I sat in trying to decide which doggone rocking chair was going to be the one. But because I had sat in so many, I knew what I liked. And when it was time to actually purchase it, I was able to go straight to the one I wanted because I developed the habit of paying attention to what I enjoyed. So small changes, y'all. Track your changes. Make sure you're clear on your reward. Set yourself up for success by the environment, by giving yourself cues like the tennis shoe and the t-shirt and the tights so that you are set up for success, and give yourself grace when you fall because you will. And remember that doing this in bite-sized pieces over time is what matters. Now, people will say I can develop a habit in 21 days or maybe 30 days. That's not what the science says. The science says it's 66 days. So what I like to think about is a rolling habit formation. If I'm in a rhythm with one thing, I don't need to do that thing for one day, but I don't need to do it for 90 days either. If I can start with drinking water and I do that for the first 21 days as a focus or for the first 14 days, then I'm going to stack another habit on top of that. Because maybe now instead of just drinking water, I'm going to stretch in the morning before I actually come out to get that water. And so you gradually you're creating a habit chain. And so one habit connects to another habit. You wouldn't do this without doing this. So one simple thing is I don't just drink water. I drink lemon water. So a habit when I get my water bottle out is I'm drinking from the same mason jar, which has the same cover. And then I'm going to the same drawer in the fridge to get a lemon, to cut that lemon in half. And then I cut it in half again to squeeze two of the halves inside my lemon. Then I turn around and I get a straw to put in my mason jar so I can drink my lemon water. Y'all, if I still have to get up in the morning and look for my mason jar, look for my cup, it don't work out so well. So I set myself up for success, a solid cue, and then I create habit chains around it. The lemon is a part of my chain. The straw is a part of the chain. The mason jar is a part of the chain. And then I go and sit down at my kitchen table in front of my computer. And whenever someone is like, how can I help you? I'm always like, if you ever see me sitting down without my water with lemon in it, that's what you can help me with. Because this is a part of my rhythm and routine. So lasting change means starting with something small, being willing to stack your changes, and knowing that habit building creates a track for you to run on. In my book, She's Still There, in chapter 20, I talk about this principle of developing discipline. Discipline is the engine. It's a habit that you develop so that when motivation runs out, you still got something to run on. Discipline are the tracks, but habit is how you lay them. Habit is how you lay the tracks down so that you're always able to move forward. So if you think about the habit that you had in mind from the beginning of this episode, what are the cues or the routines or the rewards that surround those? And I want you to remember that you always want to start small. You always want to be consistent. You always want to track your progress, and you always want to be flexible. How can you choose one habit that you can start if you've already started and commit to doing that by putting the right things around you to keep it going? There are so many resources that talk about habits. I've mentioned Habit by Charles Duhigg. You can check out Deep Work by Cal Newport. You can also check out Atomic Habits by James Clear if you need to understand the science. But I'm telling you, it boils down to this. Start small. Be consistent. Track your progress. Have the right people or places around you. And then just start. And then once you've got something down or you feel like you can keep it going, stack on top of that. Moving slow is how you build strong. I want you to know that this is not easy for any of us. We all are working at building out habits that will sustain us in our life. But if you will commit to pausing or slowing down and developing habits, the rest of your life will be so much easier. If a kid learns how to study in high school, then they don't have to stress out and learn that in college. If you learn how to memorize scripture when you're a little kid, then you have the scripture to recall when you're an adult. If you have the habit of going on a walk daily when you are in good health, then you will maintain the health you need to keep walking when your body not moving becomes a really big problem. When you have the habit of getting up on time or getting up early, then you don't have to develop that habit when you need to carve out additional quiet time to spend with the Lord. Building your habits will cause everything else to flow smoothly because the part that is hard is now on auto. That's the goal. To be mindful, but to have certain things on auto. Don't have an all or nothing habit. Be prepared for your habit setback. Make sure you have an accountability partner, that you're in the right environment with people and places. And this is why people go online and they share their weight loss journeys or they share their book writing journeys, because they're like, I'm going to put myself in a position where the environment of people doing it with me or cheering me on is going to keep me motivated. So what is the habit that you have, and how are you going to seek to set yourself up for success? What's the one thing you heard in this teaching today that you feel like if I implement that, I will probably be better off? And don't forget, you need a forgiveness plan, because no matter how good your plan is, no matter how adaptable you want to be, you will fall off. And when you fall off, you need to make sure that you're prepared with your plan B. And yes, start with 21 days, start with 30, or start with 60. It doesn't matter. Just get started small, and be prepared to fail and then start again. Because the goal is to form a habit that sticks. And you will only do that when you're committed to starting and starting again. We're all human, y'all. We all already have habits. And looking at what you're already doing and replacing those bad habits with good ones is the way that you root out the old and you ring in the new. Every new year we ring in the new, and we want all the new habits to come with it. Well, the new habits don't just happen. You have to create them. And when you create them, starting small and continuing long is how you will have success. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and I look forward to seeing your responses in the comments. Thanks for tuning in to the Sister Circle podcast. If that content blessed you even a little bit, you're going to love what's coming next. Don't stop here. Go ahead and watch the next video. I'll meet you there.